Over the weekend, I went down an anime film rabbit hole and in the process developed a bit of a taste for Makoto Shinkai's movies. And they have a felt sense that I wanted to capture in a little bit of writing and have tried to do so. So I'm going to read a little piece and then talk a bit about the relationship of teen angst and going through the midlife transition. So here we go. I've recently stumbled upon the films of Makoto Shinkai and am again intoxicated by the spirit of unabashed storytelling. His movies are a love letter to entanglements of the heart, the spirits which animate the world, the places we've forgotten, all set in the natural beauty of Japan. As happens sometimes in the afterglow of a trip into a nice story, there is a sense of dropping into the very real land of myth, of shedding the confines of the literal world and its needy structures. With this feeling, I walk through the house, myth-tuned senses feeling into the small tableaus of home, each as a living vignette in a play of meaning. This feels like a tuning of appreciation. Taste and joy intermix in a yearning to create, a yearning to know what it could be to reach into an audience and join in a play of telling. I have to step aside from my small self to feel the thrum of this call, for it seems bigger than what imagination has afforded thus far. The call lives in the deep and old places where rock grows like moss upon time. So yeah, it's always a good sign that a bit of an attempt at some sort of poetry prose kind of thing comes out of a media experience. So these films are quite beautiful. The two that I watched were Your Name and Suzume. They have a felt sense of liminality, of being between worlds. In this particular case, they focus on sort of a teen coming of age period, and the visuals are absolutely stunning. There's an illustration or painterly style where every frame is a masterpiece is the kind of deal. It's very, very realistic, and I've been to Tokyo once, and so I have a little bit of a felt sense of Japan, but very limited. But it took me back there. It captures. Well, it is part along with Miyazaki now what I feel Japan feels like. So very, very stunning. And then mixed with this hyper realism is this step over into the world of spirit. And this scene captures very well the felt sense of moving through a developmental period. In this case, coming out of the adolescent and into the young adult, and the confusion and big emotions and lots of new things coming online, and a lot of fear, a lot of embarrassment, and this kind of thing. And so there is this definite sense of well, in his movies, a lot of yearning. This is a big part of the tension. But also this transition and its bumpiness. And so feeling into that and sort of comparing it to the midlife transition that I'm going through right now, hopefully on the tail end of, but it has a lot of similarities. In particular, this move across a threshold of being where a lot of what worked before doesn't seem to cut the mustard anymore. In the case of my experience and some of the experiences that I've read from like in and around the Carl Jung universe, there comes this encounter with the internal that is unavoidable. And this encountering yourself and the parts of self that may have been shunted aside or pushed into shadow produces a lot of turmoil. And it's different than the teen age because you have a lot more life experience, and it's confusing in a different way. A lot of what you took for granted, or a lot of what I took for granted, seems to have shifted dramatically in meaning and value, and this shows up in hobbies that you used to enjoy, or foods had that you used to enjoy, or in the case of design, which was a vocational calling that I picked up early in my life. It started to shift heavily in valence, and I fell out of love with it in a way that I didn't know that would be possible. So very disorienting, very untethered and unmoored, and looking for new ways of being, which feel very. Every once in a while, I wake up and I'm like, I feel like a teen kid who has no idea what I'm doing anymore. So, anyways, there's an orientation that comes online. There is a learning how to surf this. There is a reaching further out, and also bringing more of yourself into conversation. And in particular, I've talked about a little bit the parts work and active imagination stuff. This feels like going and reaching out to those parts that were those parts of self that were maybe out in the fringes or caged away for some reason, or hidden or avoided, and getting to know them again and bringing them back in. And this is a tough process at times, but it's very gratifying as you go through it and reconnect. Interesting artworks start to show up, interesting types of expression, and yeah, I don't know. So that's what these movies sort of brought up in me. They're definitely worth a visit, and that's all I got. Bye.